Good evening. How is everyone? Okay. My name is Kalani Looper. I'm 19 years old. I was 18 when I got diagnosed with AML, so this is what it looks like 10 months post chemo. I don't have any fancy slides, so yeah. I was diagnosed with acute myelodysplastic leukemia on April 3rd after being transferred from Southern Maryland Hospital ER to Georgetown University. For about 2 weeks beforehand, I had a really, really bad headache and migraines running my family, and it was nothing like just a normal migraine. And I love medicine, I love science, so I keep a brain chart in my phone. And it kept saying kidneys, and I drink nothing but water and juice, so I knew it wasn't my kidneys. And I just had like a really weird inkling, like, yeah, I really need to get this checked out. So I went to the ER. About 3 days before that, I woke up with a bruise on my right leg below the knee, and it had a really big knot in it. And I didn't want it to be like an aneurysm or anything. So I watched it, and the very next day, I had another bruise above the knee. So that Sunday when I woke up, I was very faint, very fatigued. I've never passed out ever in my life. So I was like, okay, this is the day. So I went to the ER, and I had a nurse named Grace, which was amazing. She told me, like, yeah, I think you're anemic because my heart rate was 136. And for an athlete my age, I was supposed to be between 60 and 90. And I was like, I thought I was just excited about life. Like, I just graduated high school. I'm just ready for the next step. And she's like, well, I think I want to take your blood before I send you home. And sure enough, she said she ran it 5 times because she couldn't believe it. My white blood cell count was 135,000. And I know you guys know it was supposed to be between 5 and 50,000. So went straight to Georgetown. It's 3:16 in the morning. I had a great time. I've never been in an ambulance, so that was a nice experience. And I was welcomed in Georgetown with open arms. My doctor, one of my oncologists is Dr. Pinto, and another one is Dr. Gonzalez. And I'm very involved in my care. So from day one, the plan was laid out. I got a Hickman line. I guess they were really surprised because I sat in on my own rounds. I was ready. I loved the information being given. It was given in the craziest, biggest medical terms, and then it was put into layman terms for me to understand. It was really, really nice to not be excluded. Because I was 18, I had the option to go into the peds unit or be an adult. I wasn't ready to be an adult, so when I went to the peds unit, it was really nice to understand everything that was about to take place in my life, because being 18, the norm is going to college or working, being in that field and trying to understand life. And I had to experience a new normal, and it was really, really, I just had a really good experience at Georgetown, learning about it. So for my mom and my grandmother who's here, with us being very vocal about my care, they made it so I was comfortable enough saying no and asking questions. And the information that was presented to me was, it was something. It was definitely something new. My treatment plan was 4 rounds of aggressive chemo. I had 1 round every 28 days. My recovery time, to me, it was like just going with the flow. It was pretty normal, but to my doctors, it was kind of rare, something new they haven't seen ever, for me to recover that well. I took chemo. I pretty much slept through 90% of everything. I got a lot of rest. I learned a lot. I met amazing people. My care team they just put me first. I was priority everywhere around, and the knowledge that I gained was amazing. Sorry, I'm a little nervous, just a little. I just want to give a shout out to my nurses who woke me up at shift change to take my blood. The anesthesiologist who did a great job at administering propofol, and I can never make it to 4. I definitely want to let you guys know about chemo. the effects it had on me, a lot of times with the memory lapses and getting intrathecal chemo along with the bone marrow biopsies, you definitely deal with the memory lapses. But with my care team and my mom, who was like my casually dressed doctor hanging on the side, you deal with it, but it's something that you can either let hinder you or work towards getting better and becoming better and adjusting well. My care team definitely made it so that even though I had a block shot in life, they were dedicated to getting my rebound and giving me another opportunity to make that basket and giving me another shot at life. So I appreciate everyone here for your research and for the different chemos and those 4 rounds that were and have transformed my life and put me in a position to speak to the people who make it possible to even give me a second chance at life. I appreciate all your work. I learned a lot from a lot of people. Shout out to everyone I met. Just thank you so much for your work, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. So ask me any questions. Nothing's too personal. I'm an open book. No questions?
No, wait. Kalani, that was fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. Actually, we do have time if anybody has a question, because we learn a lot from what you just did, and this stays with us. So thank you very much. So if anybody has a question, Pat, go ahead.
Yes. Like basketball. Who's going to win?
I love basketball.
Warriors or Cavs?
LeBron is an amazing, unhuman man, but the Warriors and their work ethic and their teamwork will win the game. Sorry, LeBron. Yes. Pretty natural. I'm a Gemini, so I can, I know how to adjust. I adjust well. I'm a point guard in basketball too, so I facilitate a lot. And just knowing my settings and knowing how and where to fit in. I've never had a problem with that. So, but, it's chilly in here, but I am sweating. So don't let this fool you. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
What did you find helpful as as an adolescent, right? To how the care was catered to you that you appreciated, as a young adult, as opposed to how you might treat a 5-year-old or something.
It wasn't tiptoeing around the issue. I knew the diagnosis at hand. I knew how detrimental it could be. So when I was spoken to, they addressed me as a young adult and not a kid who just doesn't care. But I came in with the mindset of living. I never said that, I have AML. I always said, I've been diagnosed with. So when I was, spoken to, it was just like hey, this is the plan of care. These are the chemos you're going to be getting. It's very respectful at all times. Even when I said no, it wasn't questioned. It was what makes you feel this way about that? And I would talk about the research I found or what I've read about it, and it was respected. It was just like a normal conversation in this completely different world that I wish no one had to experience pediatric cancer, but with it being a thing, it was a safe space to talk, and I wasn't treated like, when I was bald, I looked 12, so a lot of people didn't know how old I was until I began to speak to them about my own care. And I know that's pretty rare because usually it's left up to the parents or whoever the caretakers are to make the decisions. So it was just an open line of communication at all times. And I had my doctor's pager numbers.
So what are you doing now? What are your plans for the future?
One of the organizations who works with Georgetown is Hope for Henry. I just got the opportunity to do a summer internship with them. I'm a part of a patient advisory council. So my goal and plan this summer is to actually create safe spaces for young adults and just different walks of life as far as within the pediatric cancer world. I want to have events where we can become social again, because a lot of times with medical isolation comes physical isolation, and when you're dealing with chemo as a teenager, after you're out, it's like your hair grows back, oh, everything's back to normal, and you never stop recovering. And I try to emphasize that a lot, because it could be passed off as, oh, they have an attitude, they're just being a teenager. When in reality, in this world, it's maybe I'm dealing with repressed emotions I've never been able to feel, because you turn off feeling because you get used to pain. And that's the easiest way to explain it. But I just want to have a space like this is open and close-knit where they can express themselves, and then have a place where they can talk to parents about how they feel, because your parents are doing everything they can possibly do to make life normal again for you. And you don't ever want to say something that could possibly, make them feel a certain way, like they're not doing enough. So I just want to create a safe space for young adults, teenagers, right on that line of 19, 20, 21, where you can talk about your experience, you can talk about how you feel. Because in my patient advisory council, I met someone who didn't have cancer. I think it was something chronic, and we have the same similarities. So it's nice to be in a space. So I just want to create that for them. Network a little bit. I love the Mystics. I'm at the Washington Mystics. That's my family now. So, I may go to college, go play basketball or something. I don't know. But I'll never stop advocating for peds. Any more questions? What kind of chemo I had? I know it all. So, yes.
Positive survivor with a lot of energy. Have you ever considered sort of a role in terms of mentoring or an advocacy role with other pediatric cancer patients, whether it's through Georgetown or somewhere else, in this capacity to sort of turn your spirit into something for others to follow in terms of survivorship?
Hope for Henry has given me that platform, and I'll be able to grow it even more this summer and over the years. I definitely wouldn't mind doing philanthropy and getting into that, but I don't know. I'm just letting God, show me the road, and I'll drive it, I'll walk it, I'll jog it. I'm just trying to understand, but with this diagnosis, it's definitely showed me my purpose in life, which I was praying for at 18. So that 18 and 19, getting out of high school, trying to figure it out, I definitely have figured it out, and I'm just trying to adjust to it.
Thank you. Well, after your summer internship, could you give us a call?
I got you. It's nothing. I promise.